Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sin Privilegios podcast. My name is Adriel Dominguez, and I'm your host. Welcome to the first official episode. And I'm just going to start by saying that I've filmed this video 3 times already, and I don't know what's happening with my software. So I restarted. So we're just going to get this rolling, and hopefully it goes through this time and nothing happens because I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting a little tired. If y'all are tech savvy, you're blessed. Okay, so for this first episode, I thought I would talk a little bit about myself so you guys can get to know me, you know who I am. So we'll just start from there. Um, my name is Adriel, which you already know that. I'm currently 20 years old. I was born in the year 2005. Okay, so I guess I'll just start by talking about how I was raised. Both of my parents are very hard workers. So that means that they pushed me to do the same. For one, my dad cared a lot about my academics. He pushed me a lot. And I remember we would go grocery shopping, and y'all know how they had like those big Costco books. My dad would buy them for me during the summer, and he would literally make me do like 2 to 3 sheets a day. Well, more like every other day, and I hated doing it. And he would literally check them, and if I did them wrong, I had to do all over again. My dad would also make me memorize the multiplication tables. I literally hated it. And I literally hated it because I was like, Dad, but it's summer break. Why do I have to do this? And I was so mad and irritated. And he would literally be like, okay, we're going to focus on your fives now, or whatever it was. And he would just ask me them like rapid fire, right? And if I missed one, he'd make me go back and study them again until I was ready to say them without messing up and like knowing the numbers like fast. So that's how my dad was. So my dad would keep us, me and my brother too, not just me. So my brother as well, like he would keep us busy doing those Costco workbooks, right? And people would always be like, oh, like they're kids, like let them play outside, let them enjoy their summer. Why are you making them stay in? My dad always got criticized for that, for making us do work during the summer. And every time in the fall, when we'd go back to school, we would be ahead of the other kids because, like, let's say I would finish my third grade year and he'd buy a fourth grade workbook. So I was studying material for fourth grade before going into fourth grade. I was an excellent reader in school. I really love reading, even to this day. I love reading books. Um, I'm not a math person. I really suck at math. Okay, I'm gonna be so honest. Like I try so hard with math, but I think just because I don't like the subject, I just like already know I don't like the subject because I know I'm not good at it. So I just don't try. Like I do try, but I'm not interested in the topic. So it's very hard for me to try and get into it, if that makes sense. But yeah. So once I got into high school, I already knew, like, when I was young, my parents always, always, always told me, you're going to go to college. Like, you're going to go to college. You have to go to college. If you want to have a better life than us, you got to go to college. If you don't want to work like us, you got to go to college. Like, siempre, siempre, siempre tenía eso en la cabeza que I was going to go to college. I didn't even know, like, what college was. I just knew I had to go. Okay. And when I got into high school, I started taking a lot of science classes. I didn't really know what I wanted to study, but I really loved forensics. I took this biomedicine class in high school. I can't remember the exact, but it was like biomedical science, something like that. I really loved it. We literally talked about the decomposition of a human body. And we even had an activity about like investigating a murder, and I really liked it. We learned about how the body decomposes, the science behind that, and all of that. So I kind of wanted to go into the medical field. And then the pandemic hit in 2020. I can't remember if it was like going into my sophomore year or I think it was during my sophomore year. I can't remember. All I know is that obviously everybody went online, right? And then we had the option to go back to school, But I didn't really have friends because I had moved schools. Like at the high school I was at, I was new basically. So I didn't really have friends. I was like, why am I gonna go back to school to literally do the same thing I'm doing when I can do it at home? I didn't really have that like, oh, like I miss my friends because I didn't have any. So, and it sounds sad, but honestly, during that time of my life, I really didn't care about not having friends. I did have a few friends. Don't get me wrong. I had a few, maybe like two or three, but I wasn't popular by any means. I was a nerd. People would make fun of me sometimes, and I just took it because I wouldn't say anything back. But actually, there was a few times where someone said something to me, and I probably did say something back that I probably shouldn't have, but I did because I was mad. But that's irrelevant. So during that time, during COVID, I started to go to work with my mom, and my mom has a cleaning company. So basically, we go and clean people's houses. At this point, I'm like, what, 15 when I started working? And then I was obviously making money, right? So when they were like, oh, come back to campus, like, to like the high school to do class in person, I didn't want to because I wanted to continue working. I liked having money. And like now I look back, I'm like, I'm so dumb. Why did I work? But the thing about working so young, I liked having that financial, like, how do I say it? Like, independence. Like, if I wanted to buy myself clothes or if I wanted to buy myself like something I saw at the mall, I had my money to give that to myself, right? Or like if I wanted to go eat McDonald's, I had money to go buy McDonald's. I had McDonald's money. Okay, my parents never had McDonald's money. They would always be like, "There's food at home. If you know, you know." So I liked having that financial independence. So it was hard for me to stop working. Okay. So I continued working and then I did Running Start. So Running Start is a program, I don't know if other states, but for Washington, you basically do college and high school at the same time. So you can just do it to get like college credit, but I did mine to get my associate's degree. Okay, from what I've heard about the program, people told me it was easy. It was not easy. It was not easy. And whoever said that to me is a liar because, okay, I started it my junior year of high school, right? So literally, freshman year was the only time that I was actually having a high school experience. Then it was COVID, and then I did Running Start. Honestly, it was so different from high school. Like, there was at the college that I went to, there was not a lot of people my age, which was surprising because I thought more people would do the Running Start program, but I was wrong. So when I went there, it was mostly like grown people or like 18-year-olds. At this point in time, I'm like 16. They were older than me. I would literally just go to class and leave. The workload was hard. Okay, I was not expect. I literally, I'm telling you, bro. I thought that Running Start was an easy program. Like, I was like, okay, it's like a community college. Like, how hard could it be? It was hard. It was hard. I felt like I had no business being in college at 16. The first week, it's like there's no such thing as syllabus day. There is no time for syllabus. They'll go over the syllabus or they'll be like, you should have read that before class, and they're starting class like the first day that you get there. That was a shock for me. I remember the first week I sit down, open my little laptop, and I'm sitting there and I open Canvas, which is what they used. I open Canvas. I have like I remember I had like two essays and I had like assignments from other class, but the essays were like so many words. I was like, how the heck se le ocurrió a esta maestra darme tanta tarea? Like, it's my first week, but they have no compassion for you. Like, they know that they have younger students doing the Running Start program. They don't care. Like, you're a college student. You decided that you are ready for the workload. You better be prepared for it. I remember I was sitting in the kitchen. I'm looking at Canvas and I just start crying. I'm crying because I was thinking to myself, like, why did I think I could do this? I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I for real don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how I'm gonna finish all this homework. Like, there's no way they expect me to do all of this. They did expect me to do all of it. And I'm just bawling my eyes out. My mom is there in the living room just looking at me like, what is wrong with her? And I'm just like, Mom, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. Like, it's so much work. There's no way they expect me to do all this. And she was like, you know what? Like, you're already there. She's like, you can do it. You can do it. And she's like, you're good at writing. She's like, so just go for it. I don't know how. I'm pretty sure I pulled like all nighters. I would stay up like that first week. I stayed up till like 2 in the morning just doing work. And I know it sounds like an exaggeration, but for me, it was hard. Okay. I know maybe for people who have gone to a community college, it's not hard, but for me, it was hard. Okay. It was hard. I was not expecting that workload. I felt unprepared. I felt like someone had pushed me off a cliff and expected me to know how to fly or something. I did not have a clue what I was doing. And that first semester was really rough. I would stay up, like I said, I stayed up a lot of nights. There was a lot of times where I would just stay in the kitchen. Everybody would be in the room sleeping, and I was still on my computer trying to finish my work. I kind of just did it. And there were a lot of moments that I wanted to quit. I wanted to drop the program. I was like, there's no way. Like, who let me join the program? Like, girl, I'm dumb. Like, uh, whoever let me, like, I thought to myself, like, my high school counselor really set me up for failure because why didn't she tell me it was going to be this hard? I don't know. The tears, the all nighters, they paid off, y'all. They paid off. I got through it and I had good grades, and 2 years later, I was crossing the stage and I got my associate's degree. Literally, only the grace of God, because there were so many moments where I faced a lot of downfalls and I was like, there's just no way I'm going to finish this program out. And I did. And all I can say is thank you, God, because it was a hard moment. So I got my associate's degree and I got my high school diploma at the same time. So I had two graduations and I was super excited about that. So once I finished, I faced another problem. I wanted to go to a 4 year, and that was not the problem. The problem was, how am I going to pay for it? Okay, what I did, I applied, I think it was 15 colleges. I applied to 15 colleges. I got into all of them. Thank Jesus. I got into all of them, and the only problem was money. I didn't know how I was going to pay for school. The highest amount I would have had to pay for one of them was like, I think it was like 25, but it was either like 15 to $25,000 a year, right? So I was like, "Oh my god, how am I going to come up with that type of money? Like a year, like $15,000 a year minimum is a lot of money." And that wasn't including, that was just tuition. That was not counting room and board. That was not counting books. That was not counting like class materials. If I had to move, like obviously I had to groceries and a meal plan, etc. I remember I started crying because I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to go to college. Like, I just feel like it's not in the cards for me. My parents don't have the money to send me to college, and the scholarships they're giving me are not enough to cover tuition. I started panicking and I just started applying to a bunch of different scholarships. I applied to so many different scholarships. I get an email one day and it was like, "You've been accepted for the second process of this scholarship." I'm like confused because I'm like, "What scholarship?" I had applied to, bro, this scholarship that I applied to, I don't even remember applying to it because I had applied to so many scholarships, so many like financial help things, so many colleges. Like my head was a mess. I didn't even remember applying to the scholarship. And when I saw the email, I was like, is this a scam? But I had nothing to lose. So I responded to the email. This scholarship was the Act 6 scholarship. It was not in fact a scam. It was legit. So I got instruction on like, cause we had to do interviews and stuff for the scholarship, right? I made it to the last phase. I was not picked for the scholarship. When I applied to the scholarship, there was like certain schools I had to apply to like, cause I guess the scholarship is only eligible for these universities. So I had to apply to the universities, right? And Act 6 basically covers all of your tuition. Like if you have to move to that school, they'll cover it. It's also based on like financial need, but for the most part, they'll pay for everything. So I was like, I need this scholarship. Like I don't have another option if I don't get this scholarship, I'm not gonna have the money. And my parents, you know, they really wanted me to go to college. Obviously, I wanted to go to college. And my dad told me like, I don't care how much I have to pay. Like we'll figure it out. We'll take out loans. We'll do whatever it takes for you to go to school. But my dad, he remodels houses. My dad got injured a few years back and he couldn't work for years. That injury, he's gonna have it for the rest of his life. He has a lot of pain in his knees. So there'll be some days where he'll come from work, he can't even move because the pain is really intense, right? And that's just like him trying to keep a roof on our heads, right? And give us a good life. My parents have given me an amazing life, but my dad works really hard for it, and my mom too. But my dad is the breadwinner of our family, and I didn't want to put financial strain on my family. And for me, it felt like selfish putting my dad through more financial strain by going to a school and having to have those extra $15,000 a year. And loans have really high interest, and it was like I felt stuck. So when Act 6 came, I was like, I have to get the scholarship. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna have to do, but I have to get it. I was not picked to receive the scholarship. So I was kind of like, now what? Like, what the heck am I going to do? And I remember, so when you apply to colleges, you get financial award letters basically telling you, like, okay, we're going to cover this much. This is how much you have to pay, right? So on behalf of Act 6, I applied to this school. I didn't even know it existed. Okay. I literally just applied for it because I wanted the Act 6 scholarship. But it was Pacific Lutheran University. And turns out I live hella close to it, but I never heard of it because it's like pretty well hidden. So I applied to that school, but I didn't think anything of it, to be honest. So I go to the mail and I see that I have a letter from them, and I was like, oh, like cool. Like I knew I had gotten accepted to this school, but I was like, I was like, oh, it's probably just like the financial thing or whatever. So I open it, and then I see um that I would only have to pay $2,000 to go, 2,000 a year. And I was like, I don't know if I was like tripping. I was like, am I reading this right? I was like reading the, mind you, I have never seen financial aid letters. I don't know what they mean. Like obviously, like I had like the gist, but I was like, I don't know. Maybe I'm like misreading this. There's no way that I'm only gonna pay $2,000. Like, and it's a private school, so I was like, why is it so cheap? I'm confused. Why are they giving me so much? Like, there's no way I'm reading this right. And then I see if you come visit campus, I will give you an additional scholarship. Now, I think it was like for 1,000 or 500. I don't know. So I was like, okay, like, well, I'm gonna go. I go online, I schedule a tour, like tour day or whatever, and I scheduled it for me and my parents to go. We I go to the campus. I'm like, okay, like it was so close to my house. And me and my parents were shook because we're like, what the heck? How come we've never seen this? Like, I never would have imagined that there's a college near this area. So I walk into like like where the office is to like start the tour. We were low key a little bit lost, but we found our way. I get there and the girl's like, "Oh, you're like the only one I'm touring today." I was like, "Oh, okay." So usually it's like a big group of people, but I guess I was the only one that like showed up that day, or I was the only one that scheduled during that time. I'm not sure, but I was like, "Okay, cool." So we started touring campus. It was really rainy that day, so not very ideal for a college campus tour, but my parents loved it and they're like, "Oh my god, it's giving Harry Potter." I've never seen Harry Potter, so I had no clue what they were talking about. But yeah, so we saw the campus, and then after the tour finished, the girl was like, "Oh, she's like, if you want, you can have a financial person like look over your package for you, and like if you have any questions about it or you just want to get clarification." I was like, "Oh no," I was like, "Yeah, for sure, right?" And so we go into this little office so we can talk, and it's this financial specialist or my advice. I think he's like an admissions counselor. I can't remember on the top of my head, but I think he might have been an admissions counselor. And so we go into this office. So it's like my parents, me, and then the admissions counselor. So he like he's like, "Oh, can I have your first and last name?" I give it to him. So he prints out the paper, he puts it on the table, and he's explaining to it like basically you'd only have to pay like 1,000 ish dollars if you choose to not come live on campus. Like that's how much you're paying. And again, it's not far from my house. And I was like, only 1,000, like 1,500. I'm coming. And he looks at me and he was like, "You should be very proud of yourself." He's like, "Because you're an excellent student. And if you need more money or there's another school paying more for your tuition, I can try to negotiate that with them or like our office or whatever so we can find more money to give you so you can come to our school because we want you here." And I was like, I didn't really understand what was happening. I was like in shock. We come out of the office and my parents were like, "You'd be dumb not to come here." And I remember when we were on this tour, there was a flyer. There was a flyer and it said study abroad at Oxford. I was like, I asked the tour guide, I was like Oxford? And she's like, "Oh yeah, the honor if you're in the honors program, you can go to Oxford." And I was like, "Really? They take you guys to Oxford?" And she's like, "Yeah, like, it's a great opportunity. If you have the opportunity to study abroad, you should definitely do it." Um, and she's like, "Yeah, but they get to go to Oxford. I've heard it's really cool. I've never been, but I've heard it's cool." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And that kind of stuck with me because I was like, honors Oxford. If y'all don't know Oxford, Google it. Google it. Also, I'm kind of a nerd, so it's like very historical and stuff. And I was like, oh my god, like I want to go there. Like what? I want to go to Oxford. So when my parents were like, "You're basically gonna be coming here for free. You'd be dumb if you choose somewhere else to go because it's a lot more money if you go to another school. This school is close by. It's private. Like you have to come here. Like this is a perfect school. Like what else are you waiting for?" The program, I wanted to study business administration and I wanted to do maybe something with law. So I was like, you know what? This is the place. This is a place like no tengo nada más que buscar. Like I has everything I need. It's close by. It's cost effective. Like I don't have to it's private. Like private school. I've never been to a private school. I've gone public all my life. Let's go. So you know what? We were coming out of the office and I look at my parents. I'm like, you know what? You're right. I'm coming here. Like I'm aquí voy a venir. This is school. My parents were so happy. We even took a picture when I like decided that this was a school. I told my dad, I was like, okay, I'm gonna come here. I was like, can you buy me some merch? He bought me a jacket that says like the name of the school. And I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna come here. All I had to do was go online and be like, yes, I'm coming. So I decided I was gonna go to Pacific Lutheran University. Freshman year, I enrolled into the honors program. I got accepted into the honors program, so I was so happy. I also like they told me if I went to POU, they offered me like automatic admission to the business program. Uh, I love POU. I love POU. I've made a lot of friends and I love them. I love them so much. And honestly, every time, like every fall semester I go in, I feel like reinvented. Like I know who I am. When spring semester comes around, I'm a completely different person. And I just feel like I've done a lot of growth and I probably will still continue to do a lot of growth within this next year that I'm still in school. And because I did the Running Start program, I could have finished this May. So I could have finished a month ago. But I extended it. So my first year spring semester, one of my friends convinced me to run for vice president for a Latino organization on campus. And I was like, well, I kind of want to do something meaningful. Like, I've never been a part of something, right? And I was like, I love people. I love talking to people. I yap a lot, as y'all can tell. I love meeting new people. I was like, what better way than to get involved in my community? There was not many Latinos where I live. There's not a lot of Latinos. I think I only had one. Hispanic friend during elementary to middle school. Which goes into that's like a whole thing on its own. I was really struggling with my identity as a Latina. I didn't want to be Latina. I didn't like my skin tone. I wanted to be white. And that was because I was surrounded by a bunch of white kids. I didn't even like, I felt ashamed of who I was. I felt ashamed of being Hispanic. I didn't want to be Hispanic and I didn't like my skin tone because I wasn't white. But that's a whole nother episode, you guys. But with that being said, when he told me run for like VP, like I'm gonna run for president, you run for VP, and we'll be an amazing team. And I've kind of like I've always kind of been like YOLO, based like when I did my associate's degree, I also was like YOLO, like let's try it because it's gonna make my life easier. I guess some point I might have missed earlier was part of the reason also why I did Running Start was because I if I didn't have the money to go to college, I was like instead of paying for 4 years, I'm only gonna pay for two. So that was another big reason. So that's why when I went to POU, I was like, the fastest I get out of here, the better because I won't have to put financial strain on my parents. But because it wasn't like $15,000, right? I was like, okay, well, even then, I don't want to be here an extra 2 years. But then my second year, well, at the end of my first year, when he was like, run for vice president, I was like, okay, I run for vice president. I'm like peer pressuring everybody to vote because I wanted to win. I hate losing, which is a bad thing, but a good thing, but mostly bad. But I feel like I know how to lose. Maybe sometimes I'm trying to get better, but I won the election. I was like, okay, period. I've never run nothing, y'all. I've never run a club, not even in high school, nothing. I don't know what I was thinking. So yeah, I didn't know, like, I didn't think about how much responsibility running a club was at a college. I just went for it. I just did it. First of all, I had no idea what I was doing. Okay, I had no idea. I feel like a lot of the stuff that I do, I kind of just I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll figure it out on the way. And that's how it was for this. But being doing this role was one of the best things I did for myself. And I mean that with all my heart. I learned so much. And when I got to college, I mean, yeah, my freshman year, I really started to embrace who I was. I really started to embrace my culture. And the summer before I started my freshman year, I went to Mexico and I fell in love with Mexico. I fell in love with the culture. And I was like, oh my God, like this is me. Like this is who I am. So honestly, having that role, I was able to grow a lot, not only as like as a young adult, but it it made me feel needed. It made me feel like I could help other students. It made me feel like I was useful, and it gave me purpose. It gave me purpose to help others and be a part of something and do something meaningful. Like it filled a void in me. I don't know how else to say it. And maybe you're thinking like it's just a club. Relax. But I have been lonely, okay? I've been lonely since like lonely like no friends since like 8th grade year of middle school up until being the ripe age of 18. And that's just another thing that I can talk about later on, like feeling lonely and stuff. But being VP, being not being VP, not the title, being being a part of something like that really changed everything for me. It changed everything. I got to meet a bunch of people. I also got to learn a lot of skills that I did not have. I my best friend, I got one of my best friends from running that club. He's the president of the club, but he's one of my good friends, and you know, I I wouldn't do anything differently because if I did, I wouldn't be who I am right now. And so, with that being said, my freshman year, I tried to apply to go to Oxford. I tried to go to Oxford, okay? They have a center where you go and you basically ask for help to apply to these programs. And I go there and I take my computer and I'm like, I'm trying to log in so I can fill out the application to go to Oxford. And the lady at the desk, she looks at me and she's like, you want to go to Oxford? I was like, yeah. And she's like, you have to be in honors to do that, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm an honor student. Like, that's why I'm applying. And mind you, I had good grades in honors. So I was like, I got this in the bag. And she's like, but do you know how hard it is to get into that program? And I was like, yeah. I mean, well, I'm gonna try to get in. Isn't that the point? Like, I'm confused. And she's like, okay, she's like, open up your computer for me. Let's see what's going on. I opened my computer. I think we worked out the whatever like troubleshooting issue my computer had that I couldn't fill out the application. And she's like, I'm looking at her straight in the eye. And she's like, I just want you to know that this program is very expensive. So just make sure that you have enough funds to go because it's expensive. Y con eso tuve para no aplicar. Con eso tuve, I was like, okay. I closed my computer. I walk out the door. I didn't apply. I didn't even try to apply to go to Oxford. I was like, you know what? She's right. I was like, qué tonta soy yo pensando that I could go study abroad. I was like, I barely had enough money to come here. What makes me think that I'm going to study abroad? Like, I'm dumb for thinking that. I'm dumb for thinking that I could even get accepted into Oxford. I'm dumb for even trying to come up with the idea that I could travel somewhere. I'm dumb. Like, why would I think that I was capable of doing that? She's right. It's probably so expensive. My parents didn't even have enough money to like bring me here. And I want to be selfish enough and I want to be dumb and think that studying abroad isn't the cards for me when it's not. It's not because I'm first gen, because I'm low income. Like, what the hell? ¿De dónde yo voy a sacar dinero? She's right. Well, first of all, I don't pay a single cent to go to college. I ended up getting everything fully paid. And I don't say that to brag. I say that to show because it was possible with scholarships and 100 million thousand thanks to POU that they gave me the opportunity and they gave me the funds to pursue my education. Because that's going to change the trajectory of my life, right? I'm going to be the first in my family from both sides, my mom and my dad's side, to have a college degree to my name. I was the first one to even have a high school diploma, let alone finish middle school. My parents didn't even finish elementary. Okay. So when she said that to me, I was like, I've already made it far. Like, well, I'm not gonna come I'm not gonna overcome that milestone. There's just no way. Second year, right? So now it's like back to the future basically. Now, I'll take you back to January. The applications for Oxford open again. Actually, it wasn't January. It was like I think it was October, December. It was one of those 3 months. It was like the last 2 months of the year or January. I think it was January. I don't know. I'm not sure. Somewhere around there. The applications open again. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I talked to my advisor and I was like, I want to study abroad. But that was since my freshman year, we had kind of accommodated my graduation plans so that I could have a semester to study abroad, which extended my time at POU. So instead of graduating in 2 years, I was going to graduate in 3. I hope that made sense because I was going to study abroad, right? And so, obviously, my freshman year when that happened to me, I I turned it down. I was like, I'm not gonna go. And then my second year comes around. So this year, and I'm like, next year is my last year here. Like, if I don't apply to any of these programs to study abroad, then like that's it. Like, I'm not gonna go anywhere. And I looked at other programs that were not Oxford because, like I said, I didn't think I was gonna get into the program. I was like, I'm honestly like I'm not a star student, so I was like, there's like my friends are smarter than me, which honestly, if you're the smartest in your group, get a new friend group because you should not be the smartest one in your group, and that's good advice. My aunt told me that. So, anyways, that was hella off topic, but yeah, I was like, I looked into other programs, and so then my second year, the applications open, and I talked to my parents, and I was like, you know what, like I really want to go to Oxford, like I really want to go, and it's for the honor students. And the only reason I applied to the honors program was because I wanted to go to Oxford. I really wanted to go to Oxford. Since the moment I saw that flyer on that freaking campus tour, I was like, I have to go there. Like, I want to go there. That was the whole reason why I applied to the honors program, because I wanted to have even the slightest opportunity of going to Oxford. And my parents were like, you know what? If that's what you want to do, apply. They're like, apply. And I was like, but I don't want to apply because like I don't know if we have the money. Like I've heard it's really expensive. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go. And then like I already knew. And my parents, they said they're like apply for it, and they're like if you get in, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Just apply. And I was like okay. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna apply. I was like, I'm probably not gonna get in, but I told my mom, I was like, at least my mom was like, apply. If you don't get in, at least you know that you didn't get accepted. Yeah, you let it go. Because she's like, what if you apply and you get in and you get to go? And she's like, es mejor no quedarte con la duda. So hazlo para que ya sí sepas si sí o si no pudiste, right? Okay. So I apply to the program. And then it's like, I think it's February. So the president of the Latino organization was like, hey, we're going to do officer elections again. Are you going to run again? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, well, I hadn't told him. I hadn't told anybody I applied to go to Oxford because I didn't want to tell anybody because I was like, if I don't get accepted and I'm telling everybody and running my mouth that I want to go to Oxford and I applied to go to Oxford and then they get rejected, like that's going to be so embarrassing. But honestly, he's like he's literally, I have two best friends. He's one of them. So I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to tell him. And something I admire about this person, he's super smart. He's really smart and siempre me puede dar un buen consejo. Y he's always uplifted me and backed me up. Like, he has my back. He's one of those, that man, girl, e- él se corta un brazo por dártelo a ti. Like, it's very, oh my gosh, let me slow it down. It's very rare to find a person like that. And I can say that he's one of those rare persons that he will take the shirt off his back to give it to you. And I trust him y lo aprecio mucho, and I admire him a lot. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna just tell him. And I was like, so I don't know if I can apply because I applied to go to Oxford. And he just looks at me like, and I was like, yeah, but like, I don't know, like I might not get accepted. So, but like, I just like that's why I don't really know if I'm gonna run again because I don't even know like what if I do go and then like I can't be here and fulfill my duty of being an officer. And he's like, you know what? He's like, you go follow your dreams. He kind of said it in a funny way, but he was like, you know what? He's like, you're gonna get in. He's like, you're gonna get in. You'll be fine. He's like, tú vete. And I was like, all right, but yeah. He was like, you'll get in. I don't even know why you're tripping. And I was like, no, you don't understand. Okay, so I'm counting down the days to see am I gonna get accepted. I was supposed to know like on a Friday, and then they're like, actually, we need more time to look at your applications. So I mean, not just mine, but like in general, they were still looking at applications. So they're like, we're gonna actually need an additional 3 days, so we'll let you know next week. And I was like, next week? I need to know now. Like, tell me now. Am I gonna get accepted? Am I gonna go or not? Like, Jesus Christ. Okay, so I'm like anxiously waiting. The day comes. First of all, they sent decisions in a day earlier than what they had. Because I think, I can't remember the date, but let's just say, as de cuenta que dijeron, we're gonna send out decisions on the 14th. The 13th, I see an email from the center of like travel study abroad or whatever. I just saw that it was from the office, from the study abroad office. I click on it. I'm like in the living. My dad is, first of all, this man is just chilling on the couch, like watching TV. I'm on my phone and I was like, am I tripping? Like, I was shaking. It said, "Dear Oxford bound students, congratulations on your acceptance." I don't even know what the rest said. I just said, congratulations. I reread that and then basically saying like the next steps. I was like, I got accepted. I got accepted. I see my phone. I look at my dad and I'm like, I'm going to Oxford. And I just start crying. I start crying and my dad hugs me. And I'm like, I'm going to Oxford. My dad, he called my mom. And he's like, oh, like she got accepted to study abroad. I thank God because, bro, that was it was like my dream. Like going to college was my first dream, but once I got into college, my second big dream, my goal, whatever you want to call it, mi anhelo, was going to Oxford. My thought process was like, if I don't go to Oxford, if I don't get accepted for whatever reason, I was like, that's fine because I know rejection is just redirection. Okay. So I was like, if I'm not meant to go, I'm not gonna go. My first year, I tried to be RA. I tried to do like so many other like different positions in school, and I got rejected each and every single time. Like, I even told my mom, like, I don't know if I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like, I wasn't getting the positions I wanted. I would like try to run for things, I did not get it. I can't even remember. The one I do remember was RA because basically like residential assistance because I wanted to live on campus and they pay for it, but you gotta like do the job. Obviously, I got rejected. They did not want me to be RA. And I was like, dang. And even to myself, like, I was kind of like, really, God, like, what am I doing wrong? I was like, why can't, like, I can't get nothing. I can't take a W for nothing. Like, what the hell? So when I applied to Oxford, I already had the idea. I was like, if God doesn't want me to go, I'm not gonna go. Like, no matter what I do. And obviously, this is just like me. I know people might not believe in God or whatever. Like, that's fine. But I'm just saying, like, for what I believe in, I was like, if God doesn't want me to go, I'm not gonna go. I was like, it's God's will. And you know what? Whatever He chooses, I'll be happy. If He wants me to stay here, that means I have a purpose to complete here before I finish school. And if He sends me to Oxford, that means that I'm ready to go to Oxford and I'm ready for this new part of my life and have this experience. So, with that being said, I am going to study at Oxford pretty soon. I don't know how this happened, but I just ended up being an officer on the LXU team again. LXU is Latinos Unidos. Yeah. Give us a follow on the gram if you haven't. It's at LXU. So yeah, so that's where I am right now in life. Honestly, I try to like cut it up as short as possible. I'm not really sure how long I've been talking. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for bearing with me. I hope that this is the last and final cut for this because I'm really tired. I've been sitting in front of this camera and this microphone and this ring light for 3 hours trying to set everything up. So I really hope this is the good episode that I can finally edit and upload. But with all that being said, if you guys, so my goal for this podcast is to interview people and I want to hear your guys' story because, like I said, this whole thing, like sin privilegios, I want to show that regardless of us not having the same privileges as other people who might not be first gen, who might not be Latinos, who might, be children of immigrants, we've been able to overcome not having the same privileges and overcome these barriers. And, in the future, like maybe whatever you guys want me to talk about, I'll talk about. You can DM me, you can comment on the Instagram reel. But I'm gonna get other students on here and I want to hear your guys' story. I want you guys to share it because I feel like it's very important. A lot of people or a lot of people young, like our age. So I'm like 20, students coming out of high school. It seems impossible to even go to college or do things like this. It seems unattainable. But seeing others, and I believe like hearing other stories will prove that it is possible, and people have done it, and they were able to overcome these obstacles, these barriers, whatever. And I truly feel like I want this platform to show that besides all that, our parents' sacrifices, their sweat, their tears, not knowing English, like thanks to them, we've been able to come so far, right? And I want this podcast to show that. I want y'all to come on here and be the living proof that we've made it far, and you can make it far, and you never know how your story can change someone's trajectory, right? Or inspire them. And I just really want this to be helpful. I want this to be helpful. And, that's what I want. That's what I want from this. And I just want to be an advocate for my people. I want this to not be my platform. I want it to be our platform. This one's for us. This one's for us. I'm here for us. I'm here for the community. I want to be a good voice and a good representation of us, of how far we've made it. And I also, I have a list of people I would like to have on this podcast. But if you want to come on here, you want to share your story, or you have something to share, whatever it may be, and, and you feel like you just want to get your voice out there, please, please, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to do it, and, get you on here and just share your story. And I hope that this wasn't a lot of ranting, but yeah, I think this is a good way to finish. So, with all that being said, thank you so much for listening. And please follow us, or you can. Okay, this episode is going to be on Spotify, YouTube, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Spotify and YouTube. And I will have the Instagram page at so the Instagram page is at Sin Privilegios Pod on Instagram. So if you want to give us, I mean, yeah, us, because, it's all of our podcasts. But if you want to give, the Instagram page a follow, go ahead. You can go ahead and do that at Sin Privilegios Pod. And I'll probably link my Instagram on there. You don't got to follow me, though. I don't even post. For real, I don't. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope that that got that gave you a little bit of insight of who I am, and kind of a little bit more on what I want to do here. And yeah, I hope. Yeah, I don't know how else to end this. So bye, y'all.